Hello, so welcome back. Second chapter of The Boy Who Made the World Disappear by Ben Miller. And I don't know if you remember, but yesterday we just got to the part where Harrison was about to go to a birthday party and he was about to kick off. Let's see what happens. Harrison had been anxious about Hector Broom's birthday party for weeks. Hector Broom was one of Harrison's least favourite people. He was one of the biggest children in Harrison's class and always picking on him. For example, if Harrison made up a game in the playground, Hector would ask to join and then change the rules so Harrison couldn't play. Or, if they were playing football, he would trip Harrison up or push him off the ball. But by far the worst thing was Hector's elastic band. It was the perfect weapon, quick to use and easy to hide. When you were least expecting it, you'd feel the sharp sting of the elastic on your arm or your neck or your leg, and the next minute you'd be rolling around in pain. Just the thought of having to go to Hector's party put Harrison on edge, but the whole class was going, and Harrison didn't want to be left out when everyone was talking about the party on Monday, so he had no choice. The only thing that made going to Hector Broom's birthday remotely bearable was the theme, space. Because Harrison loved anything to do with stars and planets. Plus, Hector had been bragging all week that his parents had booked a real live astronaut as the entertainment. The astronaut's name was Shelley. She was staying with her grandmother, the school lollipop lady, for a special visit, so the Brooms had booked her immediately for their son's precious party. Harrison couldn't wait to meet her. After all, she'd actually been to space. The party started happily enough. There were space decorations all over the village hall, and Hector's mother and father had ordered a big birthday cake topped with a silver spaceship crashing into a red planet next to a green alien with 4 eyes. Everyone had come in fancy dress. Harrison was a spaceman, Persephone Brinkwater was an alien, Charlene Songwoo had come as a shooting star, Marcus Down as a rocket, and Carl Nk was a man from Mission Control. Katie Broad was an angel, but no one said anything, even though angels aren't the sort of thing you normally see in space. Hector Broom had, predictably, chosen to come as the sun, because he wanted to come as the most important thing in the whole solar system. Once the guests had arrived, Hector's parents ushered all the children to the centre of the room, and soon everyone was sitting on cushions on the floor, waiting impatiently for the main event. Harrison could feel his excitement growing as the moment he would meet a real-life astronaut grew closer. Then a menacing voice whispered in his ear, "Just you wait till my parents are gone. I'm gonna get you." Harrison turned to see Hector Broom flexing his dreaded elastic band, an evil glint in his eye. "And when we start the games, you'd better watch out." Harrison gulped. Perhaps he should have stayed at home after all. The lights dimmed and a voice called out, "Lift off in -T. 10, 9, 8. All the children began to join in. 7, 6, 5. Hector's mother and father backed off towards the door. Harrison felt all his muscles go tense. Once they had gone, who was going to protect him from Hector? 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition! Blast off! Yelled a woman bursting out of the kitchen door. She had bright pink hair and was wearing the most brilliant outfit, just like the ones the astronauts wear on the International Space Station. Despite his nerves, Harrison was really impressed. "Hello, children! I'm Shelley. Now we're going to have so much fun together. Who wants to go up to space with me?" she asked, looking around. "Me, me, me!" everyone shouted. Hector's parents smiled at one another and closed the door. As soon as they had gone, Hector flashed Harrison an evil grin. "Not me!" blurted Harrison. "Excuse me," said Shelley, staring at Harrison in surprise. "I want to go home!" Harrison cried, his panic at being pinged by Hector's elastic band growing. "But Harrison," said Marcus Down, "you love space." "No, I don't!" shouted Harrison. "It's boring!" Of course he didn't mean that at all. He was just scared of Hector, but Shelley didn't know that. "Space isn't boring," she replied firmly, with a frown. "In fact, you have no idea how lucky you are. When I was a little girl, I would have loved to go to a party like this." She turned away from Harrison and addressed everyone else. "Okay, children, you all lie down and close your eyes. Everyone did as they were told, and trying to ignore his worries, Harrison did the same. With his eyes shut, he heard Shelley drawing the curtains and turning off the lights. There was a click, followed by a humming sound. "Open your eyes," Shelley instructed. Harrison did, and suddenly it was as if they were all floating in space. There were stars everywhere, swirling on the ceiling, covering the walls and falling to the ground. "Who knows what a constellation is?" Shelley asked. Harrison put his hand up, but Shelley picked Persephone Brinkwater instead. "Stars that make a shape," said Persephone. "Very good," said Shelley. "Now everyone look up and meet the Great Bear." She directed a laser pointer at the ceiling, so a bright red dot circled several stars, which, it had to be said, looked absolutely nothing like a bear. "There's its head," explained Shelley, as the dot danced above them. "And there are its paws, and there's its body, and those are its legs." "If you say so," said Carl N.G., and several of the children giggled. "Can anyone guess what this constellation is?" said Shelley, sounding slightly irritated. Her laser moved to another cluster of stars. Yet again, Harrison put his hand up. Shelley ignored him and pointed to Charlie and so. "Is it a bat?" asked Charlie. "Not quite," replied Shelley, "though it does have wings. This is Cygnus, the swan. It's one of my favourites. Can any of you guess why?" "Because it has a very bright star in it," asked Hector Broom, without even putting his hand up. "Really good guess, Hector," said Shelley. "What a clever boy you are. And it is a very bright star. It's called Deneb, which means tail in Arabic, because it's in the tail of the swan. But the reason Cygnus is one of my favourite constellations is right here." She took the laser pointer and squiggled it in a dark bit right in the middle of the swan. "It's a black hole. Does anyone know what one of those is?" Harrison, who knew all about black holes, sat up in excitement and waved both arms. "I do! I do!" "No one," said Shelley, pretending not to hear. After his outburst, she had decided that Harrison was spoiled and needed to be taught a lesson. Well, it's basically a hole in the universe. It's completely black, so you'd never know it was there. But if you get too close, boom, it will suck you inside and you will disappear forever. As she spoke, she switched off the laser pointer, and the little point of red light on the ceiling vanished. There was a pause. The children stared at the little patch of sky where the black hole was lurking, feeling slightly freaked out. "Right," said Shelley, climbing to her feet. "Shall we play some games?" She flicked a row of switches on the wall, and the lights came back on again. "No!" shouted Harrison. The other children had all stood up, but he was lying on the floor. "Excuse me," said Shelley. "I don't want to play games!" he cried. Suddenly the only thing he could think about was Hector and his elastic band. "But they're space games," explained Shelley. "You love them. We've got Accelerate the Neutron Star, that's a bit like Past the Parcel, Sleeping Supernovas, which is a bit like Sleeping Lions, and I love Sleeping Lions," said Katie Board. "Oh!" cried Harrison. "Why isn't anyone listening to me?" "Harrison," said Shelley, a note of warning in her voice, "I think you need to calm down." "I want to see the stars again," he yelled. "We're finished with the stars," said Shelley firmly. "Now we're going to play games. Shall we start with a round of pin the satellite into low Earth orbit? Hector, you can go first." Hector stepped forward, and, unnoticed by Shelley, he pulled out his rubber band and aimed a menacing smirk at Harrison, which is when Harrison really flew into a rage. "This is the worst party ever!" he hullabalooed, running around the room, kicking the cushions like footballs. "And you're a rubbish astronaut!" "No, wait a minute," said Shelley, getting increasingly cross herself. "I hate you!" Harrison barked. "I wish I could put you in the black hole! I wish I could put everything into the black hole!" "Like I care!" bellowed Shelley at the top of her voice. Harrison was so surprised to be yelled at by an adult that he stopped in his tracks. "You think I want to be doing this?" howled Shelley. "You think I want to be a pretend astronaut? I want to be an astronomer, not a children's entertainer." Silence fell in the room as the children sat with open mouths. Shelley wasn't acting like grown-ups were supposed to act at all. "You're not a real astronaut?" asked Marcus Down. "Of course I'm not!" cried Shelley. "Just like you're not real rockets, planets, stars, or angels!" Katie Broad started to cry. Okay, said Shelley, realising that this situation was growing out of control. "I'm sorry, I've been through a lot recently." Persephone Brinkwater put her arm around Katie Broad, who was still wailing. Shelley took a deep breath and started again. "Come on, let's play some fun games," she said, acting as if nothing had happened. "And then we'll have some delicious birthday cake." Of course, the party never really recovered. They did play Pin the Satellite into low Earth orbit, but Harrison punctured the space station and got disqualified. Then they played Accelerate the Neutron Star, and everyone won a toy except for Harrison. Finally, they played Sleeping Supernovas, and Shelley caught Harrison scratching his eczema rather than lying still, so she exploded him and he had to sit out for the rest of the game. All the while, Hector Broom snapped his rubber band with a threatening glare. By the time they were ready for their food, Harrison was in a very bad mood, and then things went from worse to disastrous. "Harrison, no, I'm sorry, but you can't have any," said Shelley, as all the kids grabbed a slice of birthday cake. "Why not?" said Harrison, watching the others tuck into the delicious-looking cake. "Katie says you're allergic to dairy," Shelley said, "and this cake isn't dairy-free, so no cake for you." "Well, I don't care," said Harrison. "I'm eating it!" "No, you're not," said Shelley. "Step away from the cake." "Ow!" said Harrison. His neck was suddenly red hot. He spun around to see Hector. He had pinged Harrison with his elastic band. "Is everything okay here?" said Hector's mum, interrupting the scene. Harrison looked up to see Hector's parents standing at the door. Through the window, Harrison could see the other parents arriving too. "Oh yeah, everything's fine, isn't it, children?" said Shelley. Her cheeks bloomed red, but Hector's mum didn't seem to notice. "Did you enjoy the party?" Harrison's mother asked him as she walked over. Harrison looked at Shelley and then at Hector Bloom and then at his parents. Should he tell or should he not? "Yes, I did," he nodded, crossing his fingers and lying behind his back. Hector's mother clapped her hands. "Thank you for coming to celebrate our dear little angel's birthday. I'm afraid it's time to go home, but I think we might have very special balloons for everyone to take with them, and a party bag too. Shelley?" "Of course," said Shelley. One by one, Shelley gave each child a party bag and a beautiful shiny helium balloon in the shape of a planet. There was a stripy brown and yellow Jupiter for Hector, and a purple Venus for Persephone. Charlie got a sky blue Neptune, Marcus an orange Saturn with pink rings, and Carl a bluey green Uranus. Katie Broad got a silvery Mercury, which was very lucky because it matched her angel costume. Finally, it was Harrison's turn. "Have you got a balloon for Harrison?" his mother asked Shelley. "Oh yeah," said Shelley. "I've got a very special balloon for Harrison. Just wait here 1 minute." She disappeared into the kitchen, closing the door behind her. BANG! My goodness. The kitchen door blew off its hinges, sailed across the hall, slammed against the opposite wall and clattered onto the floor, and there, framed in the doorway, was Shelley. Her spacesuit was covered in soot, and all her pink hair was standing on end. In her right hand was a piece of string, and floating at the end of it was a weird black circle. Are you okay?" asked Harrison's father. "Here's your balloon, Harrison," said Shelley, tying the string to his wrist. "It's very kind of you," said Harrison's mother. "My pleasure," said Shelley. "He deserves it." Harrison reached out his hand, took hold of the string and pulled the balloon towards him. It was pitch black, like a piece had been cut out of the universe. He blew at it to see if it bobbed backwards like a balloon should, but instead it moved ever so slightly closer. "I wouldn't do that if I was you," said Shelley. "In fact, it's best not to touch it at all." Harrison's father gave her a quizzical look. In case it pops," said Shelley, smiling a big, innocent smile. "Well, what do you say, Harrison?" asked his mother. "Thank you," said Harrison politely. "You're most welcome, Harrison," said Shelley with a glint in her eye. "You're most welcome, indeed." So, the party didn't go very well. Harrison kicked off. He really annoyed Shelley, and now Shelley's gone and given him something that looks a little bit like a black hole, a magical black hole on the end of the string. We'll see what happens next time.